What would you do in order to save your best friend from himself? Levi was my brother in every way except blood. We met in grade school and instantly hit it off. Our parents became really good friends and we hung out together all the time. We spent every day at each other's houses. Levi lived 2 houses down from me. We spent every weekend rotating who would host the sleepover. Our parents planned barbecues and pool parties. Our birthdays were a week apart, so we celebrated together, combining them. At school, we were inseparable, walking through the halls together. Kids would claim we were dating, which wasn't true since we were both straight and had girlfriends. I was there for him when his girlfriend broke up with him and he bawled his eyes out. He was there for me when my dad got sick and died, coming to the funeral with me and holding me while I went numb. We had each other's backs. After graduation, we ended up going to different colleges, but they weren't that far away from each other, and we FaceTimed every weekend. I noticed that he stopped texting me every day, and I would be lucky to get a text once every few days. It would take him an entire day to respond to my messages. He stopped answering my FaceTime calls. When he would answer them, I noticed how different he looked. His black hair was thinning out and a greasy mess on his head. He was thinner, and he was missing some teeth. His dad was a dentist, so he always took good care of his teeth. He wore baggy pants and long-sleeve shirts during every call. He avoided eye contact with me, but I noticed how blown his pupils were and how red the whites of his eyes were. His skin became an ashy color, and his cheekbones were sunk into his face. He looked awful. His roommate looked the same way, and I noticed during one call that he was handing a bag of white powder to Levi while Levi handed him a wad of cash. Was that a drug deal? My best friend wouldn't do drugs, right? No way. A couple weeks after that exchange, I decided to take a trip to visit Levi and surprise him. When I got to his campus, I headed to his dorm and noticed his roommate hanging out behind the building near the student parking lot. He was smoking something. I frowned, but put it out of my mind and headed into the building. I knocked on Levi's door and waited for him to open it. He looked even worse in person. His eyes were glassy and unfocused. There was no recognition when he opened the door. It took him a moment to realize it was me, and when he did, the blood drained from his already ashen face. "Chris?" he whispered. I smiled awkwardly. "Hello, Levi. What's going on?" He shrugged. "Nothing." I stared at him. "Something is obviously going on. Are you high on something?" He giggled. "So what if I am?" There was no remorse on his face. "Levi," I snapped. "You need help. Professional help. I'm going to get you into rehab." I pulled out my phone to research rehab facilities. Levi suddenly snatched my phone out of my hands and chucked it across the room. I watched it shatter on the floor, my eyes widening in surprise. He just stared at me with a stupid grin on his face, a coldness in his eyes. I suddenly had no idea who my best friend was anymore, and it terrified me. "What was that?" I asked quietly. He shrugged, as if he didn't just destroy my property without a care in the world. "You can get a new one." I nodded slowly. "You're getting me a new one," I said firmly. He laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "Whatever. You can leave now." I hesitated. This was my unrelated brother. I couldn't just leave him like this. I had to try again. "You need help, Levi," I said in a quiet tone. "Let me help you." Levi's face went scarily blank as he stared at me. "No," he said after a moment. "I don't need help. I don't need to be saved. Just because you couldn't save your dad doesn't mean you have to try to save me." He said those words with a cruel sneer, and I nearly broke, my breath hitching at the mention of my dad. I was heartbroken. "You're right," I said finally. "I can't save you." I turned and strolled out of the building. I went to the dean and dropped a hint that there were drug deals going on at Levi's dorm building. A week later, there was an investigation, and Levi lost his scholarship and was kicked out of school because of it. He lost everything because he couldn't admit he needed help.